Dr. I'm looking for him to see if he's already in the house so that we can properly introduce him.
Yes, sir.
He's here. Mr. Gideon is also not here because he has a meeting at the Ministry of Defense, according to him.
Okay.
But we are hoping that, yes, we'll be able to. Thanks for sharing the screen. Can you scroll down? The presentation will be by Mr. Popoola Fatai Olajide. Is he in the house?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, how are you?
Good evening.
Yes,
Fine.
yeah, I think you have been with us all along.
Yes, sir.
And you were so quiet. This AI people, they are very dangerous, you know. Yeah, because I saw somebody who looked very much like an alien from Mars. In the status, something in the background, and I was asking myself, you know, I didn't know that's our presenter. Thank you so much for, you know, being here with us. Madam Bello, can you please give him sharing privilege so that he can share his screen for the presentation? Mr. Gadiha, who is our link with Mr. Olajide has not joined us. So please, I will have to do the honors of introducing Mr. Popoola Fatai Olajide. It was actually the presentation which was done by Mr. Gadiha, which stimulated Mr. Olajide to indicate that there is a serious connection between African indigenous religions and AI, machine learning and virtual reality and all, you know, all those augmented reality. And we didn't know that this presentation would have taken place because he's somebody who is very busy. He has been traveling. And fortunately, he was able to indicate that he would be available. And I told Mr. Gadiha that we have to actually have him if he's available as part of our celebration of General Shola Williams, but we will not tell anybody that this is a celebration of General Shola Williams, because otherwise the poor man might tell us to cancel it, that he doesn't want it. So this is part of the celebration, honoring him. And we already circulated this brief bio, the impressive bio of Mr. Popoola, and most fortunate to have you among us. Those of us who read Ugbojuode, which I actually suggested must have been the foundation of Power Rangers. Those who know Power Rangers in the early 80s or so, the white man would never acknowledge that he copied anything, but I do believe very seriously, if the estate of D.O. Fagunwa were to take it up very seriously, they might be able to get some copyright infringement award from the makers of Power Rangers. AI is not very popular. So I will not belabor the point, because we have somebody who is very qualified, who He's very creative and very imaginative. He's the CEO and founder of MHK Creative. And, I believe that the young ones in the house will be able to relate to what he will be saying. Mr. Olajide, please over
Everyone
to
dey hold
you.
phone. As the place quiet, like I can't see my common country.
Mr. Olajide.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Yes,
everyone.
sir. Please, over to you. You will be best able to introduce yourself properly and make your presentation. We will give you 30 to 40 minutes to make your presentation, and then we will have room for discussion, for question and answer from the house. And, that will be our blessing and our Christmas present for the year. Thank you.
All right, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Olajide Popoola. I'm an artificial intelligence developer, AR developer, and augmented reality developer. So I came in contact with an article from Dr. Gajiga. So I was inspired to share my thoughts on the unique relationship between the indigenous African religion and how the current technology, which is artificial intelligence, AR and VR, can help enhance or probably monetize all its engagements, processes, and every other aspect associated with it. So first off, I would like to lay a foundation for those of us that are quite familiar with the technology already, and for those of us who are not too familiar with the technology. Hello, can we hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can.
We can hear
We can
you.
hear you. Go ahead.
All right, sir. So according to the content I sent in, I'll be talking about how we can use artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality technologies to digitize African indigenous religion and culture for research purposes, education, and preservation. So first, I would love to talk about the element required in implementing this. So currently, we should see AI, VR, and AR as a marketplace where the only currency to either to make transaction, maybe buying and selling, is blockchain technology. So having said that, the available platforms for exhibition or engagement in these technologies are cloud computing, social media, and big data. So I'll still break this down moving forward. I'm just trying to lay a foundation. So let's go straight to what these technologies are and how we can actually use them and to create a perspective for it. So first, let's take a look at virtual reality. So virtual reality is like an immersive technology, something you can, maybe it's explained in the context of someone dreaming, someone totally immersed in a dream. You don't really have except you are given control, you experience all sorts of things, you see things, you feel things, and you participate in things. So that's how virtual reality is. You can touch, you can feel, you can sense, you can engage. So this technology is a chance for us to create our own perception of the physical world. This can be achieved either by creating an artificial environment, which is where the digital museums comes in, the artifacts, anything the human mind can imagine, anything the brain can think of, can be created and digitized. So VR is giving us the opportunity to do that in terms of creating an environment and inviting people to come and join and share the experience we are currently having. So that's for virtual reality. So I will give an example of VR. So let's say we have like a physical on-site museum, and the normal mode of operation is we employ the security guard to guard the arts. We employ cleaners to ensure everywhere is clean, and we employ tour guides to show people around. We have physical art hanged on walls, and for those that are for the high-end arts, we keep them in a safe place, probably in a laser compartments and all. So to bring that, a standard museum, cost-wise, it's quite expensive. And in terms of security and all, the chances of securing valuable arts, it's very slim considering the current technology and current way insecurity is functioning all around the world. So inviting people or bringing people who can actually value that art, or people who appreciate art, who really want to engage, probably support, buy, and all those things, getting them down to a physical building. Permit me to cite this example. I overheard during your meeting that to invite certain people for your subsequent engagement, the event you're planning, you have to target a particular time so they can be available, so they can participate in that event. If not, they won't be available if you pick the wrong date. So let's say during the event, there's a session where maybe a fundraising session or something, they won't be able to participate because they are not there physically. So with VR, everybody can participate, experience, feel, and contribute. So regarding this, before I move to the next technology, do we have any short question or contribution? Anyone?
I think it's better you take us to the very end, then we can make responses.
Okay. So moving to augmented reality.
Lost you. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Thanks.
We can hear you now.
So moving to, that is the device you use in engaging in activities. Can we all see this item displayed on the screen?
Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Yes, please.
So that's a VR glass. We have several brands. We have Oculus, we have Meta, we have several brands there. So
Sorry, I'm not seeing your screen though. I'm just now I'm seeing the screen. Thank you.
okay. So for virtual reality activities, to participate, we'll be needing a device like this. It's called a virtual reality headset. So moving on to augmented reality. So for augmented reality, it's like a digital information. Augmented reality gives you digital information about your environment. Let's use this popular actor as an example, James Bond. So James Bond can put on a glass and see through buildings, get data about the personnel, the officials inside the building. So what AR does is, maybe you are inside an environment and you have your glasses on and you're looking straight into a screen, maybe a monitor. Then instead of you asking someone, okay, maybe let's say a store, maybe you want to know the price of the TV you're staring at. So instead of asking someone or checking the tag and all, once the moment you stare at the object, a pop-up is going to appear right in front of you in the glass. Only you can see it. It will contain information about the product, the brand, every information you need about the object you're staring at. So augmented reality is basically giving you more information in an easy form about your environment. So that is that about augmented reality. As we can see on the screen, I have a picture of a glass staring at a dress, a tracksuit rather. So it's giving the price, the details of what we are looking at. And also, as we can see a lady running. So you can also engage in training activities. Maybe you are running and you want to have this feeling of you are competing against someone or multiple persons. So you can set it and have this feeling like someone is ahead of you, like you are running with a group of people. Once you have your glasses on. So that is the edge augmented reality gives to you. So moving on to the application. So first off, I'll create a concept that entails several instances where we can engage when we can engage in the practices of hairs. So first, I'll go back to the same museum. So we have a form of conversion, which is converting a physical object into a digital token. So we refer to this as NFTs. So in terms of digitizing the African indigenous religion and culture for research, education, and preservation, let's start with the business side, then we'll narrow it down to education and preservation. So first, we'll talk about the procedures and the benefits. So let's say we travel down to Benin or a village in India that they are so big on culture, so big on tradition, and they have a lot of valuable artifacts they would love to preserve or probably sell, and they need good deals. So all we are going to do is the same way we have these charity policies. Let's say a billionaire gets an art, buys it, then after 1 year, does an investment appraisal, then gets the actual value, then converts it into token. The same procedure is what we are going to apply to the artifacts. So we are going to create a digital version with legal engagement, of course, a digital version of that same act. Then we are going to create a virtual environment, which is a virtual museum for depending on the rights or the laws, the African indigenous, the policies that they want it to be set up with. So we have like a virtual museum in the form of an application and also a website. So all these arts will be listed there. It will be like a virtual house where people can walk through, sit down, touch things, feel things, and we'll have like a store where all these converted artifacts are listed. So using virtual reality, we'll create the museum, where people can touch, even interact with. We have what we call, in artificial intelligence, we have what we call recommendation system. So recommendation systems are virtual assistants and all. So they will even interact with virtual models, bots, to talk, basically just have mere conversations. So you can see the artifacts, buy it, and if there's anything, like maybe they are performing rituals or they are doing anything, maybe they're having a certain level of engagement in the VR world, you can participate in it. So if you are buying or you are selling in the VR world we created, you'll be using blockchain to get your money out of the system. So the explanation to that probably will be moving forward as we probably engage in further conversations. So the blockchain technology works well with the NFT marketplace. So the procedures to that: creation using augmented reality, conversion of artifacts using 3D technology, HoloLens Meta, convert it to token, then we use blockchain technology to get the money out. So in this VR world, anywhere in the world, people can participate. You can host events in India, New York, anywhere in the world, any village in the world, any Benin, anywhere. So we can invite millions of people to be in a virtual environment at the same time. But there will be procedures and means to ensure that certain people don't have access to certain things in the VR world. It's going to be like the same way we walk into a physical office and we see indications stating restricted, staffs only, and stuff. So there will be the technology that we are going to put in place to ensure certain things work certain way, function certain way. So that's in terms of the buying and selling and the business side. So in terms of education, so for seminars, events, summits, it's still going to be the same procedures, same processes. We'll have a virtual or a dedicated application that functions in form of a building with different designs, a building with different environments. You get to decide how you want it to look. You get to design what you want to be in the hall. So the design we are going to come up with will fit into the scope of the event. If it's going to be an open field, it will be designed to be an open field. If it's going to be an enclosed space, it will be designed to be an enclosed space. So the number of participants, maybe 10,000 people from New York, 5,000 from India, 2,000 from Canada, will now have like tags, digital identity. We call them avatars. So these avatars will be the digital representation of all the participants, like their identity. The same way we identify with our phone numbers, we're going to have that avatar to identify as the digital self of those that either will be actively engaged, maybe a member of the association, or those that are paying to access or be a part of the event they are hosting. So I'm not too familiar with the whole scope of engagement of the African indigenous religion, maybe their practices and their modus operandi and how they get things done. But I have an idea because I'm also into culture and I love culture so much. So that is a bit about the education and how to the event, education, and training. So for the preservation, So the preservation also will come in form of having digital stores. So this digital transaction started from taking pictures of random products and posting it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Then someone comments, "How much is this?" Then you respond, DM, DM me. Then from the DM, you respond to the person and all. From there, it developed into having transactions on applications. From applications, website. From website, tools. So now the preservation part will come in form of digital environment, not for training, not for buying and selling. It's going to be like a vault. In blockchain, we have what we call vault, digital vault, where we keep assets. So this vault is a whole new different technology in itself because it had certain tools, certain features for engagement that is so different from the kind of technology that is being used in either the training part or the buying and selling part. So the vault will be used just like a safe where we have 10,000 guards holding gun and we have laser preserving all the valuables inside the vault. So several technologies like that will be developed, of course, using 3D technology. Then we'll have like a listing of certain personnel who we've known to be of high caliber, or we can like it's going to be like a community of buyers, a community of sellers that we know they are for high-end engagements that can have access to information of the valuables or the materials inside the vault. And there will be like a procedure or process. Each participant or even member of the heirs has to go through before they can get to the level where they have access to certain information. So it's like building the whole world digitally. So that is a bit about what we can do with artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality. So that's about the technology in itself. So I would like to add something. So currently, touring the 36 states of Nigeria, training students for free, university students, on this technology I've mentioned. And so far, I'm doing this because I'm fully aware of the fact that very soon a conversation is going to stir up thoughts, which will involve advancing the procedures and processes by which students engage in certain engagements in schools. Maybe there are labs, we have old equipment, the same equipment they'll be using to train our great grandfathers, the same practical physics lab, chemistry lab, the same tools we find there are the ones they are still using now. So moving on, someone is going to introduce artificial intelligence, latest gadgets, latest equipment for the students to understand how things work in terms of advancing their knowledge about certain practices. So when that conversation comes up, I'm fully aware that due to the fact that I've engaged in free trainings and we've built a community. I've done 3 universities so far. So we have a large community of students now that we are all anticipating that moment where AI will be introduced to universities. So the same way we have people having contracts with the government, people make army uniforms, the company that prints when you register your car or you get a new car, you have plate numbers, you have all sort of documents that was printed by a company. So the same way someone sealed that lifetime engagement is the same way I'm proposing this AI technology for us to be the first set of people having access to this kind of technology so other people can leverage on it. So I'm going to conclude my segment with this. So the floor is open for a Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Olajide, we are very grateful. A lucid, very clear, straightforward presentation. Even lay people like me can follow. The floor is open for questions, for comments. Please. We have 18 participants right now. Wonderful. Thank you all for participating. So please go ahead, ask questions. Yes, Esweke. I cannot pronounce the second name. Please, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I
Clear.
can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I am Ishisheke, Trinidad and Tobago, Pan Ashrag. This, I think, has been an extremely interesting presentation. But it raises some questions, at least in my head. For example, when I signed on to the meeting session this afternoon, I'm using my phone. And so my name did not register on the screen. And Professor Bibaji just saw the notification of my phone. And he said, who is TCL, whatever it was, please identify yourself. You could be CIA, you could be Mossad. and right. And I identified myself. And that is what I'm thinking. I am a little bit familiar with some of what you talked about, but my concern is controls. Who controls what? I know we are talking about us controlling and creating the data, but our history has been one of having to battle with who controls and who writes what and who says what. And many times, even if we believe we are doing it, it's actually somebody else. It's actually somebody else. So my question is, or my concern is, and it may have no validity at all, how do we, what are we thinking about? How do we control a narrative? How do we ensure that the virtual spaces are controlled by us and that the data, this is a social media world now where information is flowing. It means you have to be very careful how you select what is real, what is not real, what is true, what is not true. The United States is in a mess because of that. How do we, what, if you have any thoughts on how do we ensure, to some extent or to a great extent, that the narrative is controlled by us, that the data is controlled by us? Anybody could walk into a virtual space and present themselves as an avatar. We don't know who they are. So that is the thought that I had, because when I signed on, my name was not there, and I know it was in a way a joke, but it's real. Who is TCL? Who are you? Can you just be anybody walking into our space to listen to our conversations, to take our information and use that information against us? Yeah. So that is my observational question. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person. You know, Olajide actually presented only for 25 minutes, so we have some time to discuss.
Okay, can we answer the question immediately they ask? Is that possible?
Well, if we don't have anybody immediately, fine. Yeah, go ahead, since I'm not seeing any hand. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, Ma. So
I could add to that before Mr. Popoola answers. As someone who, before my retirement, I used to teach philosophy of mind.
Okay.
And there is what is known as holography.
Okay.
All of these were before virtual reality, artificial learning, and various other things.
Okay.
And the fact that nowadays you have holograms and you have virtual surgery, you have all kinds of things.
Yes, sir.
These were not unimaginable to our ancestors. You know, when we talk about indigenous African religions, there are still persons who are able to diagnose illnesses by merely looking at human beings.
Yeah.
In other words, they are able to see as if they are having an X-ray or a laser surgery performed on people. Unfortunately, those things were demonized, and we were told that they were devil or Satan or magic or occult. But we are going back there to recover what our ancestors used to know, which we were deprived of. So just as Dr. Isuseke had indicated, where is the control? Where are we going as a community? And if I might ask, you said you have visited 3 universities
Yes,
and
sir.
conducted seminars or workshops free. Who
Yes, sir.
sponsors in a Nigerian environment where everything is expensive? Who pays for that?
Okay.
And you know, these are just tiny little questions which I think you might consider when you respond. Thank you.
Okay. So
Go ahead
first,
and respond.
okay,
Olajide, go ahead.
so first, I would provide answers to the first question. Then the second question is I'm going to split that in 2 parts. Then I'll attend to that. So the first question about ensuring security. So first off, I will address that in the term of the investment aspect. So in terms of investment, let's say as a company or as an institution, let's say here's an institution, a startup intends to set up a VR, AR service. So now their budget is 100 billion naira. So if they have 100 billion as budget, of course, they will have their own server center, their own server, where they can host their own information, where they can use tools like IDS, that's intrusion detection systems, and UBA, that's user behavior analytics. And we have so many other tools under these 2 stuffs I've just mentioned. So these are AI systems for performing certain tasks. So depending on the fund or the financial support available, you'll be able to engage in certain, to put some security measures in place, like OpenAI by Sam Altman. So they have their own server, they have their own interface where they keep their information, and that's only accessible by them and the authorized personnel. But in a situation whereby a startup with a budget of 10 million naira or even 50 million naira, in a situation like that, then what you have to do is you need to leverage on the influence of companies providing certain services. For example, let's say someone wants to like get online leads, maybe a business wants to get online leads, and they don't have 1.5 million naira to create a professional website. The option they are going to consider is open an Instagram account, do sponsored ads, run Facebook ads, and start with that. Then save up. When you have your 1.5 million, you open a website. But if you have that 1.5 million, you open your website and you do things right. So same thing in terms of having engagement in any industry. depending on your budgets, maybe you want to store data. We can either use or Microsoft services. We use clouds from other companies. So that's going to put the company at certain risk because you don't have control over your data. So they are in charge. It's their company. You are using their service. So that simply means they have access to your data. They have access to your softwares. They have access to all the information. And if something goes wrong with their own company or their own system, it's going to affect you because you're a customer. So the answer is based on the budget and how big we want the whole structure to be. That will determine how safe the subsequent engagement will be. That's the answer from one perspective. Then the other perspective involves the level of engagement, the procedures of engagement by the association itself. So in terms of having like basic designations, people who are handling certain operations, proficiency in terms of assigning the right people to the right task, using the right tools for the right purpose, all those things will also be considered. We have several attacks, XSS, we have SQL injection. All these things are the malware factor that we also need to consider in terms of having online engagements, of having a virtual space before we start inviting people into it. So those are the two factors we'll consider. So have I answered your question, or do you still want me to shed some light on certain things?
You have
Well,
answered
Olajide, okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes, I was just saying yes, in part, but let someone else engage and let me listen to what more, because we're not going to end this discussion today.
Okay, but, no problem.
Let someone else.
All right. So
General Ishola,
okay.
your hand is
I think
up.
he asked the question already.
Okay. The hand of General Ishola is up. Ishola Williams. General, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Let me start with the blockchain.
All right, sir.
Blockchain is more commercial than for religious purposes. Anyway, since most religious bodies also need money, they can create the non-fungible tokens from the various artifacts they can mint and then be able to sell it on blockchain and be able to keep the brand without anybody being able to copy it. But nowadays, there are very smart people who can break into blockchain, but that situation is very few. So that the political economy of religion, blockchain can be useful there. But when you then come to virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on, it's only churches that are very rich that can afford that. But I can't imagine somebody who is in African indigenous religion,
yes,
wanting to be in a virtual reality space. I doubt that very much. One important thing that most people do not understand about African indigenous religion and its peculiarity is this. It is that it is a religion that is very near to nature, because shrines and everything were supposed to be in the forest area, away from the urban areas, and therefore environmental friendly religion. And that's why some people look at it as a future religion in which environment is going to play an important part. Unfortunately, people are moving away from that and building temples like mosques and churches, which is contrary to what is supposed to be as original, indeed not traditional. Okay, so the issue of virtual reality or AI and things like that coming in now, we lose that indigenous nature that you're looking for, back to basic of indigenous religion. Second thing I want to say also is that I'm final one. What Africans should be doing is to be looking, is to leapfrog, not on the present situation of AI, even though people like Mark Falkenberg and so on and so forth said they will open AI and algorithms to young people like you or experts like you to be able to, design your own algorithm, design your own system with an open AI system. But what I'm bothered about is that, like what Chinese guy said, we have already got the sentient AI. We have got the sentient AI. If you have a sentient AI and you are still fooling around with the one that's not sentient, we shall not be sad, then we are not getting anywhere. So really, let me conclude by saying that one, AI cannot come into this religion. If not, digital religion will lose its complete indigeneity and tradition. Two, young people like you should be looking towards sentient AI and how you can leapfrog from the present situation with all the chatbot G1, G2, G3, G4, and link into sentient one that is already being hidden by people like Sam Altman, and the Chinese people have already confessed that they've got it. All right. And that is the most dangerous aspect of it. How that will affect religion is another story altogether. Thank you very much for an interesting.
All right, sir.
All right, from you.
All right, sir. So let me quickly address
Thank
that,
you.
sir. So first off,
Chair.
hello.
If you could just let me.
Hello.
Chair.
I'm
have a
coming,
question.
please.
I want to
No,
quickly address
allow.
that.
Sorry, no.
Chair.
Collect all the comments, then you now respond. Funsho,
Yes,
you
thanks.
have the floor.
I was going to add to what the General Shola has said. One of the, sorry, before I start that, Mr. Popoola, thank you for a very lucid presentation, and it enlightened lay minds like mine. But just to take it up from where General Shola ended, the whole issue of African indigenous religion has to do a lot with spirituality. And when we are talking about spirituality, what I would love to know is, what is your take on the place of AI, VR, AR in the whole in this whole configuration of artificial intelligence and so on? How is there any way where we can link spirituality to it? Because when I go to consult a babalawo, I want to be able to speak to the cowrie shell or the opele or whatever he's going to use to divine before he casts his divination. How will AI come into that? Secondly, what is the, I'm just going to throw out my questions. What is the place of hacking in a system like you have just explained to us? Is it possible for malevolent spirits to hack into this system and affect the outcome of what you want us to use AI for in African religion and philosophy and so on and so forth? So I want you to take that into consideration in your response. Those are my two issues at moment.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you.
You made me laugh. You made me laugh. Solomon Oduma, please, you have the floor.
Yes, Prof. Sir. Thank you for giving me the floor. I think my own thought.
We are not hearing him, Chair.
Hello.
We're hearing you now.
Good. I said I want to align my thoughts with General Williams and the last speaker. Before I do that, I just want to thank Popoola for a good presentation on artificial intelligence. However, I would love to ask this question. What is the role of artificial intelligence vis-a-vis the intangible aspect of African indigenous religion? I am happy the last speaker mentioned the issue of going to a diviner, a babalawo, to divine into the spiritual realm and essence. So what is the role of artificial intelligence vis-a-vis the intangible aspect of African indigenous religion? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Popoola.
All
You
right,
can
sir.
now respond and put all of them together. After, I will make some comments. Thank you.
All right, sir. So first off, I will go back to the first question, because it was related to not totally in support of the AI movement. So first off, let me cite a perfect example. So I was in Taraba State University. So I go to Taraba. I discovered that Taraba State doesn't have Bolt. You can't use Bolt there in Taraba State. So now, the point I'm trying to make is the company Bolt, if during the whole planning and the setup, if they consider the fact that due to the fact that our business won't be available in certain region, just because this thing won't be effective in certain places, let's not proceed with our plan. Let us forget about the positive effect it's going to have about certain places. Let's focus on those places that we won't be able to operate. They can't think like that, actually, because the market is focused on certain class of people, not all classes. The same way we have iPhone users, we have Android users, right? So in developing a business model, first thing to consider is your market, your target audience. So now, addressing that part of not totally being support, of course, the same way we have people who have the energy to go to the local market to price tomato, to price things, and go to their house and make stew and soup, is the same way we have some people who would rather go to the supermarket and buy ready-made soup, aleki. They don't have the time to say they want to do this, do that. So in terms of implementing artificial intelligence and divination in all these things, if a babalawo is in Nigeria, someone in the UK might not be able to travel down and travel back. So instead, we have what we call the BCI technology. So BCI technology is related to what we call neural links. So neural links from Tesla, Elon Musk, is like a chip, a device you can install into the human brain. So this is how this BCI works. If you sit down in your house and this chip is installed in the brain, just with your thoughts, maybe certain region of the brain, you are thinking of something. Maybe you are like, I want to eat pizza. The device is going to automatically order it for you. Now, let us link. The next thing you're going to see is a delivery guy knocking on your door. You didn't speak, you didn't say anything. BCI technology. So let's bring it back in relation to VR and AR. I don't know if you've seen this movie, The Matrix or The Witcher. So in this movie, they analyze the operation of witches and wizards. If a witch wants to possess someone, in your reality, maybe you are in a jungle or you are chained somewhere, then a wolf is about to eat you. But in your own reality, you will be in a beautiful world, playing with gold, dancing and jumping up. But in your actual reality, you are in a dungeon. So in terms of that, how witchcraft works in relation to technology is that you, in a physical world, some people pay millions. Maybe they are depressed or they are sad. or they've been on the bed, they're about to die, they've been on the bed for like 3 years, unconscious. So they are going to wear a VR headset and they will see themselves dancing, walking, playing in a different world. So in terms of ritual, sir, I'm giving you 100% assurance. If I wear my VR glass here in Nigeria, I don't know where you are currently, and I set up my VR and send it to you wherever you are in the world, and I activate an application and I trigger it, you are going to fall unconscious. In fact, you will be shaking due to the activities I'm transmitting into your VR glass. You are going to feel like you are in a different world entirely. You might see wolves chasing you. You might see anything happening. It will be difficult for someone to tell you that what you're experiencing is fake, is not real. And if the BCI technology is implemented, if I stab you in the virtual world, your heart is going to stop beating in the real world. That is the total aim of the Neuralinks. You can shut down the human mind, the human brain with just one button. It's a technology that's available in the world today. So in terms of you saying, what's the connection of spirituality with AR and VR? It has gone beyond what you think. You can be there, wear your VR glass. I'm going to take you to a temple. You will see giant snake, giant serpents, and they are going to bite you in the VR world. And in the physical world, the same reaction you are going to have as though like the serpent was you physically. Your brain is going to have that exact reaction, and the result is maybe you are supposed to fall down and be unconscious for like 3 to 4 days. It's going to happen exactly like that. So if you want to consult someone in the VR world, you are going to sit down in front of the person, do whatever they want to do. The same effect you are going to have is the same effect you are going to feel. So the reason why we're having this conversation is because this is not a physical summit. I would have like tens or hundreds, or like let's say like several VR glasses for everyone to put on. That everyone is going to put that VR glasses on. Then I'm going to create a fake environment. Maybe everyone is falling from the sky. Then I'm going to record everybody's reaction. Then I'm going to play it. Then I'm going to play it to everyone. So you can actually have the effect of how it is. I hope you understand what I'm saying, sir. So if you want to take it to another level, you install that BCI, that Neuralinks, the chip, they install it in the brain to have maximum effect. But if you just want to like play around with it, we just have like just wear the glasses and all. So everything is possible and there's no limitation. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I thought I would just make comments, but I'm seeing hands. Professor John Ayatunde Shola Beweji.
Yes, sir. Well, I think
maybe brief comments.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Popoola.
Okay.
When we speak about religion,
yes, sir.
in one of my essays, I have argued that African spiritualities are not really religion, because I try to separate African spiritualities from the virulent religious traditions of the Arabian desert and what they have done to humanity.
Okay.
What you have described is very interesting on many fronts. First, religion is not something that people are born into it. In other words, people are taught religion.
Okay.
Whether it is Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and so on and so forth, is not in anybody's DNA as such. It is something that is acquired.
Okay.
Which means that apart from being brought up within certain traditions, people can deliberately choose to embrace religion or spirituality. And that is where you are. Where you are is a question of whether I want to wear that your device, put it on myself, and imagine that I'm in an alternative reality or in a virtual reality. That is a lay which assumes that I want to subject myself to hypnosis or drug or some other kind of thing over and above what is real. So the question then is this, and it comes back to what Professor Ayejina was talking about. When people have real life situations, they are not talking about virtual reality. They are not, when they go to the pastor or to the Babalawo or somebody for consultation, or they won't go to see their psychiatrist or psychologist or psychoanalyst, they are not going there to wear a device which is programmed by you or by somebody else. So the challenge is fundamentally, what does that do to the African spiritualities if it is now going to be controlled by Tesla and other people for whatever goals might be their interests? So that is the question. Thank you.
All right, sir. So first off, I have few questions before I answer the question, sir. If you don't mind, sir.
Please, sorry, Olajide, the hand of Zoe Franklin is up. Maybe we also take that along, please. Franklin, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Greetings, family from United States. My question is about the liabilities of, the VR headsets, and even into neural links. What would be the liabilities? Because we're just looking right now at the quote unquote benefits, right? Which I'm really not still clear of. But yeah, could you talk a little bit about the liabilities of the implementation of these devices?
All right.
Thank you very much.
So,
Then the hand of Professor, is it Adenovo? It's not on my screen right now, but his hand was up.
That's Professor Ayejini.
No, not Ayejini. There was another professor. Ayejini spoke already.
Ademowo, it's Ademowo.
Yeah, Ademowo, good. Thank you very much. Ademowo,
Yes,
are you
Ademowo.
in the house? Still in the house?
Yes, I'm still here.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
But actually, Professor Bewaji made the point I wanted to make. That's why I lower my hand. But sometimes when things like this come up, I begin to feel the pain that we have as Black people, that we have experienced with in the hands of the colonizers, and the recent Pentecostal or Pentecostals. With all due respect, some of these things the presenter talked about, even as a young man, I could recall visiting one or two people who will look into glass.
Please,
Miss Lisa, can you please mute your mic, please?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Rose?
Yes.
Please mute your mic.
Okay.
Hello.
Am I still on?
Yes,
yes,
yes, you're on.
Okay, yes. I for instance, I could recall years ago You know, a woman wanted, a mother wanted a son who is in the UK to come back home. And very easy. All they needed was one of his clothes. And 2 days after, this young man was back home from the United Kingdom. I was back to my village in Ijebugo. And some of these things people call it witchcraft. But how do they communicate with such a young ticket within 24 hours and return home? These are some of the things that we have demonized instead of improving on. I would say my own is a kind of uh, still feeling the pain. So I just whatever you have said, yes, I agree. A lot of things is coming. I mean, a lot of things are coming up now that we can't stop, but to tag along. But the reality is, one way or the other, we need to find a way to fix the past into this present. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So let me.
Because
All right,
we've been on this for the last 1 hour 10 minutes, so maybe let's see if we can finish in the next 20 minutes.
All right, sir. No problem, sir. So first question about the point I got in the first place about if someone walks up to a pastor and try to probably solve one or two of his problems, and they're having like they need prayers or consultations and all. So the first thing I want to ask is, in the engagement of the indigenous religion, is the only thing they do in the African indigenous traditional religion, is it just to consult, or they are also big on education and they are also big on preservation of culture? Is it just to consult, or they are also big on these two things I mentioned? Please, who can answer that question, sir?
Well, I will answer it because I was going to make a comment on that.
All
Chair,
right,
with
sir.
your permission. I was going to make a suggestion to
Go ahead.
to Popoola that I think the issue at hand here is the way AI is presented. If AI had been presented as an ideal tool for education, it would have, for preserving our practices and so on, for people who just want to see it. So that if you have a video document of an Oshun festival and you enhance it with, put it on an AI museum, people who have no opportunity of going there can see it and appreciate it. But when you are talking about consultation, when you are talking about solving life problems, just seeing a video of an Oshun festival will not cure you, will not show you how to pray to Oshun and get children and so on and so forth. It will show you how to do it, but it will not make you do it. So that if you put your emphasis, if you put the emphasis of your presentation on how we can use AI to preserve our culture for educational purposes, I will have no argument with that.
Okay, so I want to go back. Thank you very much. I really love that comment. So maybe, sir, I'm not sure you've been with us from the very beginning, because from the very beginning I explained the whole application in 3 different modes.
I was with you.
Good. So everyone, it is like everyone is more interested in this ritual part. So I didn't really get I didn't get much comments when I was talking about the digital marketplace and all other aspects. I did a presentation on that.
Sorry,
but when it got to
Olajide, don't worry, I will take care of the ritual part. Just go ahead. Don't worry.
all right. So the comment I'm trying to make is that if we are all seeing the advantage, I've presented several advantages. So the ones I've presented, if we think it's something we can work together on, then we can work together on it. Then for those who are yet to understand the whole AI movement and to understand that The same way internet came, that nobody could like fight it or protest against it, and it took over at the end, is the same way AI is going to take over. So to prevent the point that probably some people are left behind or some people couldn't take advantage of certain opportunities, that is the whole essence of this presentation. So moving on to the next question. So we have a nation called Tuvalu Nation. So I don't know if we're familiar with the name of that nation, Tuvalu. Tuvalu has been experiencing a crisis in terms of flooding and all. So now imagine Nigeria as a country. Maybe something, God forbid, nothing bad will happen to our beloved country. Maybe we all wake up tomorrow morning and we see mermaids in the streets of Lagos, Abuja, all over Nigeria. There's flooding everywhere. And the president announced that we need to all split. Some people should go to the UK, some Canada. So we should now create a digital world and call it Nigeria. And everybody should scan their passports as a Nigerian and upload on the digital space. So even if as a Nigerian, you are living in Canada, then we can all do our activities via the virtual space. That is exactly what is happening in Tuvalu now. They are the first digital nation. So in terms of taking advantage of technology and all, nobody is talking it down. Everybody is trying to look out for comfortable opportunities that is not abdicating their own self-worth. So in terms of AI, technology, advancement and all, if we sense that this part is something I can participate in, it contradicts my belief and it's fine. But moving on, we should have the knowledge of how those things work. So when we come across it, we can probably protect ourselves or advise in certain aspects. So thank you. So the next question about the liability and the implementation. So I've explained this before, the liability. So for me, I wouldn't refer to any aspect or any offer artificial intelligence, AR or VR as for us as liability. I won't do that because I'm not seeing it from that light. Rather, I would term it as safety. So in terms of safety, since we all understand that if we can't fight them, we join them, simply means if this AI revolution, the old AI revolution, we are trying to propose safety measures, how can we ensure this thing doesn't like turn out to be dangerous stuff? The only solution is government policies. The government should come up with policies for AI developers that so certain projects are restricted in certain region or in certain locations or in certain aspects. You can't develop this, you can't develop this. That is the only way we can limit the effect of AI in terms to prevent it from interfering with so many things, maybe our information, our data, or going out of control. So the only measure is to come up with policies. But AI in itself, VR in itself, anything can be achieved. In as much as the mind can come up with an idea, AI can bring it to life without any restriction or problem. So I heard a comment about someone made a comment about holography and cloning the other time. So holography and cloning is like the advanced application of 2 and 3D technology, which is very important in terms of AR and VR engagements. So holography and cloning, I can't really remember how the question came, but I remember someone mentioned holography and cloning. So it is still
I did mention holography.
It came by way of comment.
In indigenous Yoruba tradition, there is the notion of shigedi.
Yeah.
Then many people use it to protect their homes. Professor Ejina, and the elders in the home. I believe you are all, you know all about this. When powerful hunters and powerful people live, they often have, they don't need CCT or anything, in their homes, just like Professor Ademowo has mentioned. They don't, we all had all of these things that are now being bandied around. That's just what I'm trying to suggest. But the challenge is the fact that some of these things are now going to be in the hands of people who never wished us any good. And we are so, many steps behind that just trying to survive becomes a challenge.
Okay, sir.
And
So let me
just to add,
let me make a
Popoola,
comment, sir. All right, sir.
before you make a comment, Popoola,
All right.
one thing I would like you to add to your to-do list when you are trying to flesh out the African response to AI and so on. I think what Professor Bewaji said, that we should put into the mix the African technology, or if you what some people call magic, that had already explored all of these things. For example, Kanoko. I don't know if your Yoruba is deep enough to understand the concept of Kanoko.
I'm from Osun State.
Okay, so you know what that means. And when our ancestors used that, people said it was witchcraft. It was this, it was that. But that is exactly what a lot of technology is doing now, shrinking distances by all kind of quantum speed and so on. So I think if you put the African notions next side by side with your AI intelligence, then it will make it more rooted in a culture, and it will make us appreciate the African contribution to all of these new technologies that the West is now discovering. So we are trying to make you see the advantage that you have as an African scholar in looking at global technology.
Okay,
thank
sir.
you.
So, sir, thank you very much for this comment. So now, it's because of our time. So this is what I was trying to do all along. So recently, this AI company, OpenAI, they had to sack some Saltzman and still bring him back again. They had a lot of issue. It's about security issue and all. So the guy was getting, like, it's more about money, and the board are about safety. So now, during this presentation, I'm keen on ensuring that whatever engagement or whatever presentation, probably maybe conversation I'm having with people, I try as much as possible to make them understand both the advantage and the disadvantage. So, and in the process of explaining these things, it's very important that even if it's something we don't totally agree with, it's very important we understand it, because someone might try to introduce it moving forward, so we can be able to comment on it when that time comes. So Sam was trying to come up with some algorithms that is not safe, but it will make them billions, and they were against him. So the same way, someone maybe moving forward now, everybody is against digitizing spiritual engagement and all, then someone somewhere will try and partner with somebody because it involves billions. That's where the money is. So someone somewhere will just try and enforce that, picking off certain like maybe the old leaders, sidelining them and trying to, some people go as far as killing each other because of all these things. So the most important thing is to know all these secrets. So just in case someone wants to come and introduce it stylishly, you can be able to, oh, this guy mentioned this thing, so this is what this guy is trying to do. So that's the essence of the whole idea and suggestion. So the main reason I was emphasizing on it is because that is exactly where the money is in terms of digitizing. Just like some churches in Europe, they've programmed a robot to be in charge of preaching, to be in charge of teaching. Same thing in some schools. They program several languages, all the scriptures, all there's something we call in Yoruba back in the hometown, offer. So all this offer is something, as a Yoruba person, you learn how to chant all those things. Offer spells. You learn it from the elders. But now you can record it and program it into a system. So all these things, the youth are not really into most. I lived with the elders, so I think differently. But the youth of nowadays, they don't care about preservation. All they care about is the money. And if someone promises them something, they go after it. So what we are trying to do is to ensure that even before they think they can achieve this, we've blocked every possible means of them getting to that spot. So we need to be aware of both the advantage and the disadvantage. So let's go back to the advantage now, which is centered around education, training, and digitizing those artifacts either for preservation or sales, which is also an industry of billions if we approach it the normal way. By normal way, I'm talking about security, preservation, copyrights, and all. So because of our time, I don't think we have much time to discuss the conversion from physical to tokens, then from tokens we converted into physical cash. So all these procedures, the permission, the rights, the policies, all those stuff, maybe we are going to have more probably have more future engagements where we get to discuss this. So that is my contribution. And lastly, someone made a comment about my engagement with the Nigerian universities and the sponsors. So my current engagement is sponsored by Zenith Bank. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to build an AI hub across Nigeria. So after training them, we'll have an AI hub. So this AI hub will have AI professionals, VR professionals, who we can engage in subsequent projects. So for example, if we check the screen, we'll see AI in Africa. I believe we can all see it, right? Hello?
No, I cannot see it. No.
Yeah.
I see it.
So AI in Africa. So currently,
okay, yes.
So this So this AI in Africa, we've been going around.
Mute your.
So this AI in Africa is a documentary.
Gideon, mute your.
Can I proceed now? Hello?
Please go on.
Gideon, mute your mic. Oh.
So this AI in Africa is a documentary about how artificial intelligence is going to influence and enhance all industry and all aspects of humanity. So it's a project I'm working on personally that I would love to feature people who are interested in it. We'll have several, we'll break down, just like our conversation so far, how AI is going to influence all these things, what AI is doing already. Everything will be explained in a detailed way in the documentary. So we are planning to put it on Netflix and promote it on get time on DSTV to hear it like a constant shows and all. So these are the things we look forward to we are planning to do together. If it happens that we will be working together on the OVR project, we can feature on this documentary. And also we have the hub construction project also. So this hub construction project is going to be the first automated city in Africa. A building with zero human interaction. You won't meet with any human. All you have to do is anything you want to get done, you just speak. You speak and you get it done. Maybe you want to order, you want to order snacks, you want to buy, you want to purchase a dress, you want to do anything. You just speak, give descriptions, everything will be done. a fully automated city with zero human interaction. So those are the projects we are working on. Then this is the university project. We are the UP project for university. So this is the biggest of all the projects, MHK Thrones. So Thrones AI is a virtual assistant that will be providing Nigerian citizens with information about Nigerian agencies from state to federal levels. So let's say as a student, you want to know if there are opportunities for you, you can interact with the AI bot, just like we have ChatGPT. You can ask information and all. So this is going to be like a virtual assistant for citizens. Maybe you were abused and you need to know the right legal actions to take. You can interact with the bots, provide information. Anything history, anything you want to know about the country, the bots will provide it for you. So these are the projects we are working on currently. And we are also seeking partners to provide us with data that we can train our model with. So while on the side, while this is going on, we don't mind bringing the whole AR, VR project with hairs together so we can tag along and make it work. So that's the CEO and MD of Galaxy Backbone. So Galaxy Backbone is in charge of ICT here in Nigeria. That's myself and the CEO of Galaxy Backbone. Anything IT, integration, implementation, anything here in Nigeria, Mr. Abubakar Bello, Professor Abubakar Bello is in charge. So we are working on several projects together also. So, yes.
Okay. Yeah,
General
thank you.
General Williams' hand is back up.
Yeah, I want him to speak last.
Thank you so much. I'll be very quick. Number one, I think you have a fellow in your center. With a gentleman who can look at the whole area of AI and everything, indigenous religion for your center. Number two, I think what we need to concentrate now is the blockchain that he mentioned for the non-forking tokens, which means that from the way you have described it and that's the way it works,
okay,
you can convert so many things, artifacts from religion, crafts from religion, anything, into digital form and then sell it on the blockchain and make some money.
Exactly.
Many will be interested in that.
Exactly.
And I think that is one area that can be pursued. And I tried to let him know too that, like somebody has commented on the chat box, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of indigenous religion before you can determine what role AI can play. Okay, that is very, very important. But like I said before, we need to look at the future of the sentient AI and what role do they play in spirituality on African indigenous religion. But the key issue is this. The African indigenous religion must not lose the African touch. I can't imagine a robot being a babalawo. No.
Sir, sorry, sir.
A young man has written.
Let me say something, sir.
He's already using. He's already using. Hello, mobile phone, Android, or this thing to do the opele. He's already done that. He has written the apps and things like that. It's available if you go on the internet. But what
sir,
you also need to see in the conversation is the LLM. How do you put together all the data you need to be able to develop LLM for AI for indigenous religion? That's why I believe be a fellow in the center that Professor Fulani is setting up in Jos. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
So one thing I want to say is that this view, sir, you said this thing before, and I'll still tell you again. This view of you can't imagine someone using maybe VR for Pele and stuff like that. someone is going to imagine it and get it done and make billions from it if you don't do it. So the point I'm trying to make is that it is not about one person's view. So many people are against AI. Do you understand what I'm saying, sir?
Maybe I can talk, and then we come to an end, because we will not be able to finish it if we continue like this.
Okay, sir.
First and foremost, when I was doing my PhD, I did my PhD on divination, purpose and deities. There was a side of my work that my supervisor understood. That was what we published. There was a side of the work that he didn't understand. I didn't understand, but at least understood better than him. And I discovered that accidentally, because in my family, two of my senior brother and my nephew were both engineers, and I encountered them at different points. The signature of the diviner, the signature he places in the morning before he entertains clients. When I met my nephew, Engineer David Danfulani, he told me that, what are you doing with Boolean's algebra? What are you doing with truth scales, and so on and so forth? The day I took that same paper to a family meeting, I met my senior brother, Engineer Charles Danfulani. He told me that this is a V8 engine. That's the signature of the diviner, which he does in the morning before to know whether he should entertain clients or not. It was that day that I knew even the AI, the algebra, the digital mathematics, quantum physics, everything that the Western people have was stolen from Africa. That day I knew.
100%.
Because I don't have any background in engineering. I don't have any background. I went to teachers college. I never had any background in engineering. What I did was a general science. And so from that day, I started doing research and looking at this. And yet the old man that gave me that was, we could refer to him as a stark illiterate. And all he told me was that the spirits were guiding him, and he knew when he was plotting in a 0, and he knew when he was plotting in a 1. And that was how I started working on binary opposition.
But binary, excited,
okay,
ground state,
it depends on what you are doing. At one point, it's deep spirituality. At another point, you are going to mechanical engineering, auto engineering, all types of engineering. So we should continue to interrogate it. We should not take it off the drawing board. We should continue to interrogate it. As you have said, you are saying that people are already making lots and lots, tons of money from it. I know, for example, from the PhD work of Genevieve Zenzra from Ghana. She did it for Bayreuth. I know that there are traditional or indigenous experts in Ghana that are using the internet, they are using the social media, interacting with their clients all over the world.
Exactly.
So it is something that has come. We need not run away from it, but we can try to understand it. And so we have somebody, in fact, we have a deep resource, we have a jewel, we have a golden gem in this person that just made this presentation today, Olajide Popoola. We will just try to understand you and understand your work. We'll not run away from you. Look forward to working to understand what you are doing. I know I will understand you to a point, but I will try my best, and then
I believe in you, sir.
Take off from there. Now, what is interesting with this divination with 16 basic figures, you find it in Madagascar, you find it in Cape Town, you find it in Egypt in the north, you find it amongst the Dogon of Mali, of Temne, you find it in West Africa, you find it amongst the Somali and the Syrians, and scholars have done separate works on this. Some use sand, some use beans, some use all sorts of crops, all sorts of food items. The Yoruba, they use the opele. The Mupun, where I did my own research, they use pebbles. So, but this particular knowledge is common all over Africa. It has been with us, with our forefathers, and it is the same thing they crack to make engineering, to produce an engine. It is the same thing that was cracked to produce electricity. It is the same thing that has been cracked to move the economies of the world, whereas we in Africa, we dwell on it, and we're doing witchcraft, we're doing sorcery. And so the progressive side was left behind. So we should look at it, we should interrogate it. And if any religion in the world understands AI, I think African indigenous religions much, much more than any other will understand.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly, sir. So, sir, there's a comment I want to make. Thank you very much for your contribution, sir. So, personally, I'm a deep Yoruba boy from Osun State. In fact, our family house is not close to this woman where she stays when she was alive, Aduni Olorisha. They used to call my grandfather Agbefao. So all this Orunmila, all this definition or Ifa, everything, I understand it well. And my uncle also is a renowned pastor, Pastor Adodo. So in terms of theology, spirituality, and all, so that gave me an edge in going into IT. So this AI IT field, for you to be exceptional, like to be good at anything, there has to be a level of spiritual background. That's why I resonate well in working on these projects with hairs. So there is this program we used to watch, Ogujo Ode, talk about hunters and lions, hunters encountering demons and spirits, giving them solutions for pregnant women. So many beautiful, beautiful tales like that. Then growing up. So these tales, these stories, we can also convert them into virtual, like there's thousands of things we can do with all these stories if we have approvals from the right people. So that is why me, as a person who is interested and understands these things deeply, is proposing to us that first step is training. Every member of this association needs to understand how everything works, the technical aspects. So they now, due to their large the society everyone has already, that they will now pitch it to the society in terms of maybe investment, funding, and all. But the very first step of our engagement should be training. Everyone needs to understand all these technicalities and pitching, how everything works, the blockchain in relationship with the AR, how the money is being made, all these things. So before we now take the next big step, which is reviewing the strategies we should implement first and how to implement those things. So I don't know if I'm making sense.
Thank you so much. I think
making a lot of sense. Yes, bro.
Professor Danfulani.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you very sincerely for how you have worked to make this session a very eventful one. Thank you so much for sharing the session. And,
thank you, sir.
We always continue to call on you. You know, the reward for hard work is more hard work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
There are a number of people in the house that you know I need to acknowledge before we close up. Professor Danfulani, I must mention you. I must thank our presenter, Mr. Olajide Popoola. Thank you so much. Dr. Eshiseke from Trinidad, thank you so much. Ms. Gibbs, thank you very much from South Africa. Professor Funsho Ayejina, my Egmo and senior, thank you so much. Professor Zoe Franklin, thank you so much. Professor Ton Ilumonka, thank you. Dr. Lily Rose Nomfundo, Lisa from South Africa, thank you very much. Professor John Austin Stanfield from Mauritius, thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Professor Chikas, Danfulani, Sipa, I think that's the other phone.
That's my niece.
Oh, okay. So others have dropped off. Professor Ademowo and many others who joined us. We really appreciate all of you.
At the highest, we had 22 people.
Yes, it's and it's very high-powered, very senior colleagues who joined us from various locations, and we really appreciate and especially looking at the future of African indigenous religions. We are really happy that we have young people who are interested in these matters and who will not let us down. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Madam Bello, thank you very much for everything that you do and continue to do.
You're welcome, sir.
So I think we can call this a day. Wonderful interaction, a very, very stimulating paper. And we thank God for this gift. Thank you. Bye-bye.